does he have to do with this?
That anything, you know what I'm talking about. That anything. Nah, I don't have to say it right now. Don't worry about it. I don't got to say it up here. Let anything happen. And I'm going to show you and him. Back.
In shape. 145.
Yeah.
In shape. You know what I mean? So this is different from a Crawford coming up to 168, but we know his walk around weight is probably 170, 180.
Fight that I couldn't believe, that was too insane and honestly just baffling to think would be a real fight in 2025 reminds you that combat sports are the craziest sports on the planet.
Chaos erupted at the press conference for the highly anticipated Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul showdown, transforming a standard promotional event into a heated confrontation. Tensions spiked when Davis lost his cool after being pressed about choosing Paul over top-ranked challengers. Seizing the moment, Paul fired back with personal jabs and taunts about Davis's past, pushing the exchange to the edge until security and moderators were forced to step in and restore order.
Box, and truly when people run back to this press conference, all the shit talk, all the fun, they're gonna be like, wow, this kid really is doing something monumental in the sport, and he's actually insane boxer, and I'm gonna show that this guy who's been doing it his whole life has been doing it wrong his whole life.
What'd you say, Tank?
He said he gonna outbox me. Whoop-de-doo.
The one thing, when you have a fight of this magnitude, especially with Jake, because his appeal has been global, for you, Tank, do you think this is one of those fights where now all of a sudden you can show your boxing skills on a global scale to maybe people who weren't interested in boxing? All of a sudden they say, well, who is this guy?
Yeah, it's actually like, you know, now that I'm looking at it now, it's just like, I don't know, probably.
From the very start, the tension was unmistakable. Standing at 6 feet 1 inch, Jake Paul towered over the 5 feet 5 inches Gervonta Davis. A striking visual that perfectly highlighted the size gap, fueling much of the pre-fight debate. Paul capitalized on the disparity, boasting that his reach and physicality would allow him to control the smaller man with ease. Davis, unfazed and visibly confident, countered by reminding everyone that size means nothing against his trademark speed and precision, vowing to erase the difference the moment the first punch lands. One of the main flashpoints surrounding the event was the stark size difference between the two fighters. Many observers, including major media figures, branded the matchup as uneven, even calling it a clown show before it began. Gervonta Davis, an undefeated and highly decorated lightweight champion, is stepping in against a social media star turned boxer who normally competes at much heavier weights. The fight being labeled an exhibition rather than a sanctioned title bout has only added more fuel to the ongoing debate about its legitimacy.
On the fight. But yeah, that was that. This time, Jake Paul is to take on Tank Davis. Tank Davis, he was recently in the news for being arrested for a domestic violence incident involving one of his kids' mother. He was alleged to have slapped her about the place. The charges were later dropped, to be fair to him. But yeah, that was when he was last in the news. What is interesting is just a couple of months ago, Tank Davis was saying openly that he'd lost his passion for boxing and that he wanted time away from the sport. There was speculation that he might even retire, as he was experiencing extreme mental fatigue from boxing, depression, and there were mental health concerns over him. However, I guess the opportunity to earn a truck full of money fighting a completely worthless exhibition fight against Jake Paul was enough to make him change his mind about boxing. Funny that, isn't it? But you know what? I'm not even going to waste your time or mine critiquing this utter nonsense. Suffice to say that this so-called fight we're talking about is an exhibition, and it pits Jake Paul, who is a cruiserweight, by the way, weighs in excess of 200 pounds, and Tank Davis, who is, he was the WBA lightweight champion, who weighs in at about 135 pounds when he fights. So that's a disparity of some 65 pounds. In old money, that's about 4.5 stone. There's also a significant difference in height. Jake Paul is roughly 6'1", 2. Gervonta Davis is 5'5" at best. So, there's a height disparity there of some 8 inches. And once again, this is Jake Paul showing total disrespect to boxing, in my opinion. Once again, continued to pimp out the sport for his own financial ends. And worse still, the powers that be in boxing allowing him to get away with it and facilitating this utter bullshit. And meanwhile, what's even worse about this is that meanwhile, the WBA lightweight title that Tank Davis should be defending against Lamont Roach in a rematch. I mean, they fought.
It's no secret that Jake Paul thrives on theatrics and provocation, and this press conference was engineered for viral chaos. From the clown prop to the shoving matches and pointed jabs about legal troubles, every moment seemed designed to stir controversy. What should have been a formal boxing presser quickly devolved into a spectacle, resembling a reality show showdown more than a sporting event. Many reports summed it up bluntly: all sound and fury, generating headlines, but offering little real substance.
We've seen that Jake will kind of bounce in between doing these entertainment fights and then, trying to push toward his goal of ingraining himself in the sport of boxing, and kind of does both of them. So it's kind of a weird place to be, because he wants the respect of the boxing fans and the boxing hierarchy and hardcore boxing people, but at the same time, he'll gain some of that and then lose some of it. It's like a seesaw of his fights. Like one fight was like, okay, that's a real fight, or that's a real fight. And he'll go and he'll win the fight. Julio Cesar Chavez, real fighter, maybe past his prime, whatever, but Jake goes and wins that fight pretty easily, and then gets a lot of respect, gets a lot of the boxing hardcore love. And you have these talks about him fighting Anthony Joshua, and that was going to get even more respect. More people were like, that's fucking crazy. What are you doing? Myself included. That seemed like a massive risk, but a lot of people were like, okay, fair play. Anthony Joshua, that's a real heavyweight. Jake wants to fight him. He's a psycho, but fair play. And then you announce this one, and it's like, well, that's the same thing people have been saying about Jake for years, so it's a weird spot to be in for him for sure. But I talked about this not being the first choice, and I don't think it was, because Coppinger reports next that talks for Jake Paul to face Anthony Joshua collapsed over network issues. Now, we had all heard the talks, and they were pretty public, from Eddie Hearn, from Jake. Nikisa Badarian, Jake's manager, was over in the UK on, I think, Sky Sports, talking about the fight and saying how it was a real possibility.
Keith Thurman highlighted an interesting irony: that Gervonta Davis's harshest critics are, in fact, part of what keeps him relevant. And he's absolutely right. The very people who constantly tear down Davis's performances are the same ones who never miss a single fight. They insist his skills are overrated, yet they're glued to the screen every time he steps into the ring. Thurman pointed out that their negativity only amplifies Davis's visibility, driving more attention and conversation around his name. In essence, every attempt to discredit him ends up boosting his star power. The more they hate, the bigger he gets.
Not happy with Tank. First off, don't watch Tank. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You support it, then what you doing? You can't not support and support at the same time, right? So if you're a boxing purist, then this fight with Roach is really more for you. It's going to be more up your alley, If you just like all entertainment, all fights, all hypes, all everything, then you're going to want to tune into the Tank and Paul show there, because that's all for entertainment. Was it for entertainment purposes only, right? It's just say like somewhere in the small print of the promotion for entertainment. Don't do this at home, kids. You know, sometimes
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer for entertainment purposes only. You know, so you know, it's money making purposes only. You know,
Stephen A. Smith didn't hold back when addressing the growing wave of mismatched exhibition bouts, including the headline-grabbing Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson spectacle. He said the trend left him saddened and disgusted, bluntly calling out the lack of competitive integrity. Smith argued that if Jake Paul wants to be taken seriously, he needs to face real, active fighters, not retired athletes or faded stars. Still, Smith acknowledged Paul's undeniable promotional genius and his ability to draw mainstream attention to boxing. Yet, he stressed that true credibility can't be built on spectacle alone. It comes from stepping into the ring with legitimate, in-prime opponents. Smith also weighed in on the controversial majority draw between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach back in March. He defended Davis's performance, highlighting his composure and championship mindset. In Smith's view, Davis's readiness to accept a rematch wasn't desperation, it was confidence. A statement from a fighter determined to silence doubters and reassert his dominance on boxing's biggest stage.
Paul is a professional. At some point in time, I don't give a damn if it's a light heavyweight. Better be a Bivol, a super middleweight, Canelo, Mexican Monster, David Benavidez, somebody that actually has a reputation. The time has come for Jake Paul to step into the ring with a cat who actually boxes for a living and give us that fight. I appreciate the fact of him promoting. I appreciate him having the cachet as a former YouTuber turned boxer. I like Jake Paul. I respect Jake Paul. I'm just saying, because I like him and because I respect him, I want to see him in the ring. And I don't want to hear, I know his numbers are better, but then he gonna say, I don't need Canelo, Canelo needs me. Well, wait a minute. It ain't just about pop.
He went as far as to rank Gervonta Davis among the top 3 fighters in the world, praising his explosive power, elite skill set, and devastating knockout ability. Smith emphasized that Davis is a proven world champion, a true product of the boxing elite, while Jake Paul remains a relative newcomer, a YouTuber turned boxer still rooted in the entertainment world. For a fighter of Davis's caliber to step into the ring with someone so inexperienced, Smith argued, risks tarnishing his reputation. In his view, this matchup sits well below Tank's level, leading him to conclude that Davis should feel embarrassed for even entertaining it. Raleigh Romero views the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight on Netflix as a massive attraction, particularly for younger American audiences. He pointed out that while Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford will deeply resonate with Mexican and Latin American fans, the Paul Davis exhibition is likely to capture a larger U.S. viewership, especially among fans under 20. In Romero's eyes, both matchups serve the sport in different ways. Crawford represents boxing at its purest competitive level, while Paul Davis expands the sport's mainstream reach. Ultimately, he sees both as victories for boxing, each growing its audience in distinct and valuable ways.
We want to know, who will win in this fight? Jake Paul or Tank Davis? It's a legit question. And I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who do you think is going to win. Because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think. You got
Personally, I think Tank too little, bro.
Yo,
I think Tank too little.
I'm so glad you have a brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank too little.
I said, bro.
I think Tank's too little. That's what I'm saying. That weight class is for a reason.
Davis
That weight class is for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205
That's what I'm
pounds,
saying.
bro.
He's too
6'1",
little.
205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70 pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. A 135 pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30 pound difference, bro. If you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once.
No.
He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time. He's being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out. because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30 pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. And that's exactly what I feel like.
WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson didn't mince words when addressing the growing hype around Gervonta Davis's exhibition with Jake Paul. He called Davis's decision disrespectful to boxing, arguing that true champions shouldn't chase spectacle over substance. Stevenson insisted that if Tank wants to cement his legacy and earn genuine respect, he should be fighting real contenders, not entertainers. Confident in his own abilities, Stevenson openly challenged Davis to step up and face him, declaring that a showdown between the two would prove who truly rules the lightweight division.
What do you think about the him as taking Jake like that?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he chooses that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. He called cap on it. So if he won't call cap and say I'm not who I say I am.
Former heavyweight contender Eddie Chambers issued a serious warning to Jake Paul ahead of his showdown with Gervonta Davis, emphasizing that Paul's past opponents haven't remotely prepared him for this level of competition. Chambers highlighted Davis's rare blend of speed, knockout power, and high boxing IQ, attributes Paul has yet to encounter in the ring. He noted that Paul's previous wins mostly came against aging veterans or inexperienced opponents, while Davis represents an entirely different caliber of fighter. According to Chambers, if Paul doesn't raise his game to an entirely new level, Davis's elite skill and composure under pressure will expose him quickly and decisively.
Something like this can happen, but this is social media, this is what it's created. There's a lane that Jake Paul has created. Honestly, I'm not mad at him for it. He's gotten a lot of fighters, actual fighters, some shine. It also has done for women's boxing a lot, so I'm not mad at him for what he's been in boxing, what he's created. This is a little crazy. This is a little crazy. And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is going to feel something from it. And it ain't going to be easy to hit it. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you never hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside and out. So there's nothing that Jake Paul can do aside from make it extremely ugly by grabbing him and probably trying to throw him to the ground. I don't know what else, bite him. I don't know, but I mean, the skill level alone. Now, of course, there is a size difference, a height difference, and all that. But he's just going to struggle so much landing a shot. It's just going to look bad to me. This is the way I see it. It's going to look bad. Tank is going to be too fast. And the punch, I believe. I'm not saying it's going to knock him out or. But
the upcoming clash between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis has drawn heavy criticism from boxing purists and analysts who see it as more spectacle than sport. Many argue that the matchup is driven by money and viral attention rather than genuine competition. Critics have gone as far as to call it a cartoonish sideshow, claiming it trades the sport's traditional values, skill, merit, and legacy for social media hype and quick paydays. To them, the event symbolizes a troubling step away from boxing's proud heritage and the competitive integrity that once defined the sweet science.
Solid with you, I'm not a fan of this matchup at all. You got Gervonta Davis, who's been eating county jail spreads for the last month and a half, and he didn't look good in his last fight against Roach, where he had a draw, but most people felt like he got his ass tapped, so he needs the money. Then you got Jake Paul, who gets the beat on a nigga a whole foot shorter than him and 100 pounds lighter than him. And I think this is just nasty work. This screams money grab. And you know what? The fans lose in the end on this one. Netflix wins, Jake Paul wins, and Tank wins. We lose.
Promoter Eddie Hearn delivered one of the most pointed critiques of the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis spectacle, warning that it blurs the line between genuine sport and pure entertainment. Hearn argued that when boxing prioritizes showmanship over competition, it risks losing its very identity. In his view, the Paul Davis bout isn't a legitimate sporting contest, but a business-driven production crafted for clicks and pay-per-view numbers rather than athletic merit. According to Hearn, normalizing such events could damage boxing's credibility, conditioning fans to expect scripted drama instead of real challenge. The fight has already become a lightning rod for controversy, with many labeling it a gross mismatch. Jake Paul typically fights near 200 pounds, while Davis competes at 135, a weight gap critics describe as weight bullying. Some have gone as far as to call the matchup absurd, comparing it to professional wrestling theatrics rather than serious competition. Yet, there's also a counterargument gaining traction, that Davis is simply making a calculated business move. Supporters argue he's not chasing validation from purists, but securing generational wealth in a fight that guarantees global attention, regardless of what the critics say.
Jake Paul, shouldn't he?
No, he shouldn't.
You don't think? Sorry. So, I thought we were all unanimous here.
He shouldn't.
You think Jake Paul beats Gervonta Davis?
70 pounds is 70 pounds.
Jonah Davis is very small. 5'5".
He's tiny, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Jake Paul,
He's a little
6'1".
man.
If Jake Paul's tucking up,
move on,
and absorbing punishment for walking forward.
Do you think the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis matchup brings new energy and attention to boxing? Or does it signal a deeper decline for the sport's integrity? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.